fresh off of his visit from the prison in El Salvador, Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen gets emotional over the plight of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the illegal alien. Of course, still nothing relating to Rachel Morin, who was killed at the hands of an illegal from El Salvador. Here's a bit of Chris Van Hollen here on Twin Cities News Talk.
It's good to be home.
Yeah.
Now we need to end the illegal abduction of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and bring him home too. We're joined by his wife, Jennifer, by his mother, Cecilia, by his brother, Cesar, and thank all of the rest of you who are joining us in solidarity with the Constitution and Kilmar. Look, I'm a little sleep deprived, and I want to be as clear as possible about what this is about and what it's not about. So I'm going to read the remarks that I wrote on the plane ride home. As the federal courts have said, we need to bring Mr. Abrego Garcia home to protect his constitutional rights to due process.
Joining me now to talk about due process and other things, lawyer extraordinaire Jeff O'Brien. Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Have a lot of clips from Chris Van Hollen to share this morning. He's very concerned about due process. Let's start there. I want to get to the SCOTUS blocking Trump on this specific deporting of gang members to this El Salvadoran prison. But, you know, does the left have a point on this issue of due process relating to illegal aliens and what's been transpiring in these recent controversies, lawyer extraordinaire?
Well, a couple of things, John. So there is an old Supreme Court case from about 1905 that says that the Congress may entrust the decision of someone's right to enter to an executive officer. So there seems to be Supreme Court precedent that would allow an act of Congress to give the president this kind of authority over these types of matters. Who should be in the country? Who should? In terms of illegal immigrants. But the problem is this Alien Enemies Act that they're using isn't a perfect solution. It talks about members of enemy governments and things like that. But the Congress could end this by just either amending that act or passing something that gives the president the authority to do this. And if the Democrats want to go against it, they could. Now, the Supreme Court previously ruled that the president could deport people under the Alien Enemies Act,
right,
so long as they had notice and an opportunity to be heard. The whole due process argument. What I read from some comments from some of the stories about this is and they also have to be done in the federal district court in Texas. They took this away from Boasberg, and so that was the original case that was a win for the administration. But it sounds like what was happening is whoever was giving the notices, they got written notice to these folks, was giving it in English, and so they complained about that it's not in Spanish, it's in English, it's not really notice. And I think this was more of the court, or at least 7 members of the court, trying to kind of, push back on the administration as to, you need to listen to us. I think that's what more was going on here, because it's a real bizarre process that was followed to get to the Supreme Court on this.
It sounds like, Jeff, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on this, talking with our lawyer extraordinaire Jeff O'Brien, but it sounds like what's happening is the administration attempted to streamline the process and just expedite the removal of these gang members. And the Supreme Court is basically saying you need to take a few more steps in order to do that. Many people have made the comment that, relating specifically to Abrego Garcia, that the administration, okay, fine, the administration could bring him back to the U.S., allow him his court hearing here, only to go and still have the authority to deport him anyways. And it sounds like something very similar happened with this Supreme Court ruling heading into the weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah. Procedurally, this was a little bit weird. And if Justice, I could not find a majority opinion issue. I only found Justice Alito's dissenting opinion. So they may have just ruled and didn't issue it.